I met Henning only once before face to face. He arrived at my summer house in his beautiful Aston Martin, together with Sana, a friend of my wife Annika. We had dinner. They stayed overnight, and during that short time, I simply felt I wanted Henning to be part of the summer series. And I was so right to trust my instinct. What does it mean to keep learning throughout an entire life? Henning chose the words Ancora Imparo, I'm still learning, as the theme of our conversation. He spent 40 years with DHL, joining the company while it was still largely unknown in Sweden and growing with it into the global organization it is today. But this conversation is not mainly about his career, it's about what comes next. After losing several people close to him far too early, Henning decided to leave work while he still had the time and health to explore life in a different way. Today, he is learning Italian, playing the saxophone with his daughter, restoring an old wooden sailing boat, caring for the island that has been part of his life since childhood, and yes, enjoying his beautiful Aston Martin. But perhaps the most important thing he's learning is something much simpler: how to be content, how to appreciate what is already here, and how to give something back. This is a warm conversation about curiosity, friendship, family, retirement, and the preciousness of time. Enjoy this conversation with Henning von Beetzen, and Viva Vida! Hello, Henning. How are you doing?
Hello, Heraldo. Bom dia.
Good.
I'm doing good. Yeah.
Finished
Painting.
Nice. Painted the house, right?
Yes, did myself. Big job.
It's a big job. Henning, we just met once for about 1.5 days. You were here in Skåne with Sana. That's a good friend of Annika, my wife. And I haven't met you before, but you came with this beautiful Aston Martin, right?
Yeah.
And first time I even had the privilege to try out for a ride. So tell me what brought you here, and how come you own an Aston Martin? It's not so many people, I think, I guess, in Sweden.
No, the reason is I always wanted one, and I'm interested in old cars. I have restored an old MG, which I've owned for some 30 odd years. I still have it. It was a dream car of my childhood. My brother had another MG, and then I started to save money to be able to buy the next dream car in a way, and that brought me to the Aston, which I finally got my hands on. It's a used one. It's 20 years old, so still in very good shape, but the value of these cars declined quickly, so it's not anywhere near as expensive as it was when it was new. I wouldn't afford to buy a new one, but the old ones are affordable now. So yes, I enjoy driving it, and
beautiful. It's
Sorry?
beautiful, navy blue. I need to get into the car and take some pictures and send to Brazil for everybody. All the whole family's beautiful car, and it's nice to have interest in life like you have. And we want to learn everything about you, starting with yes. When we were here, I found there was something about the way, I mean, 1.5 days, but I found you so, how to say, calm. I can see you now, calm, and kind. I mean, sometimes discussing some some stuff and where I could get a little bit angry and like this, and you said, but why, Geraldo? You know, and this just why, you know, and so very kind person, but also that we are in the same phase in life. We are the same age. We chose both to early retire from our companies that we worked for a long time. So I felt a lot of things in common. And
Yes.
I was very selfish. Told you I want to interview us. This series was starting to be formed because I want to become even a better friend with you. You are in Gothenburg, I'm here in Skåne, so it's not that far. So I was very selfish there. And you said, oh, that's okay, without knowing what it's all about. And here we are. And you chose Ancora Imparo as the theme for
Yes.
for your life story and so. So let's start with that. And if you can explain Ancora Imparo, why you chose that, and
Yeah.
start with your life story when you were little Henning, wherever you
Yeah.
want to start.
Sure. Well, the Ancora Imparo is just I don't know if it's true or not, but it's the famous last words of Michelangelo. And why that's inspiring, I think, is because he died when he was 86 or 89, and if you have that as your last words, it means I'm still learning. So a sort of regret that he's passing away whilst in the middle of still learning things, and I find that inspiring because I think that's what the drive that keeps you going is the curiosity to stay to learn new things. Be better maybe at some things that you already know. And I just found that someone of that age with those skills, undeniable, that was his last word. So I thought, well, that's a good one. I'll take that. So I would consider myself a curious person, and to start with childhood, I'm the youngest of three. My siblings were 5 and 7 years older than me, so I was the loved third one. Much, I guess, easy upbringing in that sense. But also quite the age difference is also meant that I spent a lot of time, especially when I became a teenager, more with my parents than what my siblings did, because they were already growing up and going abroad and doing other things. But to start with, one of the important influences on my life and later it was that my mother was born in Germany, and we traveled there every summer from when I was 4 years old. Me and my siblings in the back seat, and my mother and grandfather in the front seat, and all the luggage on the roof in a Volkswagen Beetle, which is how you traveled in the 60s. So we always visited Germany and also Austria, Switzerland, Italy for a couple of weeks every summer, and that early on led to later in life I found the work that meant that I could travel. So I somehow, maybe not conscious or unconscious, it leads you into directions. And I also think about the famous saga of the princes of Serendip, who were sent out by their father to educate themselves in the world, and they found that things that they were not looking for led them into other things that they weren't expecting. And that's how it is. You stumble into something. That was the early on travels, and then in the summers, my grandmother was born on an island north of Gothenburg, and there I spent the rest of the summers messing around in boats and learning how to sail and swim, and that's still where I consider that my base. Even today, it's more so than Gothenburg, because on the island there's old friends, and also I've restored with a friend. We've restored together a small sailing boat it's only 5 meters long. It's a day sailor, but it's a beautiful little thing, and I enjoy sailing that. And it's not. It doesn't mean that it's not a lot of money involved in that, but it's a thing of beauty, and it's a very big joy to get the comments. We can't be in that boat without people coming up to and ask what it is, and it looks beautiful. So that's the sort of thing that I've always done that on the island. There's lobster fishing here in the autumn. There's a path around the island. Well, I will get to that later. Maybe that's not part of my childhood, but very much part of my life today. In the second half, playing the second half means to give back to that community in a way. So I'm a chairman of a society on the island that it's some sort of record in non-profit organization in Sweden. I guess it started in 1862, and the society built a path around the island and created a park that's been derelict for some time, and that we are now restoring, planting new trees. We place out benches for people to sit and watch the beautiful landscape, and we keep the path open, and it's a way of giving back and show gratitude to this beautiful place. It involves a lot of work with the city council, the landowner, which is the state. That's a different story in itself, just to work with such a big organization. And then there is a natural reserve also on the island, which it's a protected area, so you can't do just anything. Yeah. So that's still.
Henning, I am wondering, your two brothers are older than you. What's the difference of age?
I have one brother, 7 years older, and I had a sister. She passed away some years back at the age of 57, so she was relatively young. My mother passed when she was 60. My late wife, passed when she was 54, and that's also something that has triggered, I guess, the decision to leave early. I'll get to that. I think I'll just finish off the the childhood thing. When I was here on the island, all the summers spent here, I didn't travel so much in the summers there. I after school I went to military for a year up in the northern parts of Sweden, where you get to see the northern lights, lots of snow, -degrees and all that, and a travel in itself. The big benefit of being up north is that you see a countryside that I would never have seen. Lots of Swedes, most live in the southern parts, and many of us has not been in the north. So after childhood, I'd like to finish that. I'm jumping a bit here, but finishing that.
No, I just had this question because of I also come from a family where I came much later on. I came. My parents had me after 7 years of my oldest sister. We're 6 altogether, 7 years, and my oldest brother was 13 years older. So. Okay. Because of that sense and the difference of age, my oldest brother was almost like an extra father, so to say, right? Yeah. But also, what happened is that it became so many children. So I had total freedom because my parents were a little bit more tired, so to say, to be, are you studying? So I just wonder a little bit still as a young, that's why I wonder about the difference of age, if it was that big or.
Well, 5 and 7 is relatively big, because when you become teenager, my brother was already 20. Okay. I mean, he was already gone, so to speak. So not so much interaction with them during that age, teenage years. It also meant that childhood-wise, when I was a little boy, then like you, my parents didn't have maybe as much time or interest even, because they've been through it twice. So that left me a lot of freedom, and I spent a lot of time alone on the island, which was we had a rental, an old hotel room with cold running water and toilets in the corridor, which was a lot of freedom, because it was very simple, just a room, 2 beds, cooking plate, and a little fridge. You just closed the door and no worries in the world. And I had my little boat there to mess around in. So I spent a lot of time there, basically without my siblings, because they were on language courses and things like that in the summer. But it also meant that I have a very strong relationship with the island and on the island, and that has shaped a lot of me, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But it was in general a happy childhood. No trauma, no sad stories to. I spent some time later in during teenage years with a lot of work with my father. So I became quite handy, which I'm still enjoying that. I'm still restoring furniture, boats, cars, that sort of thing, working in the garden. Because later when I started my career, I was only 20 years old when after military, I met an old friend in a street in Gothenburg. Mm-hmm. And he was working as an onboard courier for the then unknown company DHL. Now it's a household name, but when I started, no one in Sweden at least knew about it. It was unheard of. And courier, what are you doing? I'm sitting on board an airplane with delivering documents, because that what it was. Flying to Copenhagen in the evenings, and back in the morning with material coming in from the rest of the world back to Gothenburg.
You need to fly together with the documents.
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
So nowadays it's a big airline, it's a big operation. It's a household name. Mm-hmm. People started to DHL things. There are competition now, but in those days, this is 83. I was an onboard courier as my first job for 2 years before DHL had our own planes. And serendipity is a good word for it. I met my old friend there, and then I stayed in that company for 40 years.
Wow, 40 years.
40 years in the company. So I started as 20 and I left when I was 60. And I'd like to see it as it's given me my whole career lots of friends around the world, a very good company to work for. It's even been elected the best company in the world, best employer in the world in recent years. And I was taken very good care of. I delivered also, of course. It was a lot of hard work, but in general, I am looking back. It's very good to be pleased about your choices, even though sometimes they were not that conscious. It's just something that appeared, and you jump on something, and it turns out to be good. So.
Yeah. Henning, I was not aware of that. So one of the best companies in the world. What makes it special?
I'd say the people. The people is the core, and a lot of companies say that, but I can testify it's really true in DHL, or at least in the DHL I knew. Maybe it's changed now. I've been away now for 3.5 years, and I still have some friends there, but it's and we have something called the DHL Dinos, which is the dinosaurs who basically started and built it. It was a very free, because there were no legacy really. It started only in 1969, and I joined in 83 when it had only been open in Sweden for about a year. So there was a lot of freedom to build it as we went, so to speak. There were the managing director, you had an idea, you told him, yeah, go ahead, do it. It was like that.
Mhm.
And that attracted a lot of interesting people, I think. Not necessarily people with a big education or so, but a lot of creative souls in that company, and many of us made a career of it within the company, and I'm super proud of what we built over these years. It's really an astonishing company now. It's many mergers and acquisitions later, but it's a company of some 500,000 people now.
You know,
So,
and here I'm in the countryside, as you know. In this small road here, there are DHL trucks coming
yes,
back and forth several times a week to
yes,
deliver something just around here, you know. So
yeah.
it's like you say, it became a household name, right? I mean,
Mhm.
mhm. So you have been from the start, so to say.
I was there from the start. After some years, I went into sales, and then I felt that I needed to educate myself a little bit to build on my CV, if nothing else, to have something to fall back on. So I did a diploma in marketing, and DHL paid for that, and I went on my work time to study. So they took care of that, and one of the learnings of that was also that I realized that I knew quite a bit. I'd learned something over working for 7 years. I also learned that I studied economics there, and maths and statistics, which I later in life has reflected. I spent a lot of time becoming better at something that I really didn't like, because you're sort of supposed to do that. You were supposed to be good at economics, and I had a lot of friends that went to university, and it was sort of expected that you should have a degree in economics, and I basically hated it. I never liked it, and it took me many years to understand that this is not for me, and I don't have to be good at it. There are other people that are very good at that and like it, and let them do it. So that's a big learning for me, and then I, then later did an executive MBA at Copenhagen Business School that also DHL paid for, which was a global thing. We went to university in Sao Paulo, among other places, and in Presa
Yes,
Julio Vargas.
yes, yes.
So we had 10 modules around the world, and we traveled to these places. We went to university in Singapore, Shanghai, St. Petersburg. We were in Sao
Gosh,
Paulo.
you know that I worked with executive development for 3 years at Ericsson, so as a program director,
Hmm.
and so you're really into a Rolls Royce here, 10 modules. That's fantastic.
Yes,
That's
for 2 years.
fantastic. Yeah.
2 years.
My gosh, very, very
Mm.
good. I mean, one more expression how good the company is in terms of investing
Yes.
in your education. So fantastic.
So yeah, it was a very uh, also there you learned that you knew a few things that you pick up along the way. So that's good for your self-awareness and self-consciousness, I suppose.
Mhm.
Um, yes, and then I yeah, just after I finished that, there was a big merger with Deutsche Post, and I applied. We all had to apply for our jobs. Had to apply for our jobs because of the merger, and I just finished the education, and I got that role that I was in, which was a global role for looking after a big customer of DHL, and I kept that for yeah I was on the account for about 30 years, and then a reflection on that is that people tend to think that you're not curious or you're not able to change because you're in the same company, and people never ask a doctor or that they stay doctor, it doesn't mean that you're not changing. You learn things along the way, and that's pretty much what I felt. I think that it was an extremely changing environment in the company. Lots of new things, new products, new solutions, and new countries, not the least. So I had the privilege of traveling the world in that role, and I was offered positions in other companies also, headhunters calling and things, but I was in a good company, in a good position, and I didn't want to leave Gothenburg, which leads me into the reason why I in my late 20s I met what later became my wife, and she had
Before you go into that, just because you reflect on something so important. I mean, I remember I worked 26 years for Ericsson, right? And I felt so exciting because every day it's such a complex product, telecommunications. Somebody once said when I started, the most complex machine ever built. And I actually learned every day something new, every day, every single day. But I have a manager that came from outside, okay? And I'm going to use the words, he looked down a little bit in the whole department because there were long-timers like myself. By that time, by the way, I just had worked, let's say, 15 years or so at the company, not more. But he thought, in his idea, coming from outside, that we all have worked too long in the company, you know? And this gives such, I think, distorted view of what actually things are, because you are learning and you are contributing, and so the idea that you have to move. I mean, I have this saying, crocodile that stands still becomes a bag, you know? So just like the crocodile here, it's my favorite quote. But it doesn't mean for me that moving means that you need to be everywhere and just move for the sake of moving, right?
No.
So I think you touch upon something that's so important, because I again, I feel even in this younger generation sometimes, how to say, a feeling that even at Ericsson, I could feel when meeting with the younger generation that, I'm going to use the word, they almost look down as well, like when they see somebody that has worked for so many years, like the idea that, well, I'm just going to spend some years here, you know, which is, I could take it, because nobody knows how long you stay when you're joining, right? So the idea that you can learn so much when you have a company that stands for good things and exciting products. And so I just want to reinforce that, because it's exactly the same experience I had.
It's also a very Western view. It's a very West Europe, even American kind of view. If you come to Asia and Japan, China, Korea, the big economies in Asia, and you present something there, and they sometimes ask you, how long have you been in the company? And if you say 30 years, then that means respect. That means that they can trust what you're saying. If you had been there 6 months and say things, it's not the same strength, and that's a completely different view. And we can reflect on that and how the Chinese have developed their country and built the infrastructure compared to the US or something. But let's not go there, because it's just too big a question.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the that's how I spent. And I also think there is a friend of mine, a close friend of mine, gave me an article from the New York Times recently about, it's a Melissa Kreis, something like that. I can't remember the name. She writes about her how do you develop things in life, and how to spend a meaningful life. And I think you like her. If you look her up, or I'll send you a link on some of those articles.
Yes, please.
It's really it's really interesting what she writes about, and how one article was about that you don't necessarily have to finish everything. I have many projects running. I have furniture that I've been working on for a couple of years and so on. They are there idling. The example she had was the basilica in Barcelona, Gaudi's church there, which opened now after 100 years of building or so. It's always been open, but it's still not finished, and it doesn't have to be finished. And same with leaving DHL after 40 years. And she also wrote about Serena Williams, I think it was Serena, and one of the Williams sisters anyway, retiring from tennis. And she said that, well, I'm not retiring. I like the word evolution. I'm evolving away from something into something different. And I kind of like that, because there are so many things to do and enjoy in life. So playing the second half again for me is about learning new things. I've started to play the saxophone together with my daughter. Neither of us knew how to play, but she's a lot better than me. She plays the violin and knows the tunes and everything. So, but still, that means that we have time together every week.
Because so nice.
Play together. And it's very nice. We do it, and so we play a little together. We go to the school.
But have you played an instrument before?
Well, as a child, I played a little bit the trumpet, and I'm in a choir, so I know music.
Okay.
A bit, but now she's joined my choir as well, so so it means that we have something to do together, which is very nice.
Exactly.
And yeah, I should get into her. You asked if something that I'm proud of. I'm very proud of her. And we adopted her from India when she was 10 months. She's now 26. And her mother, then my wife, passed away when she was 10. And that has, of course, also meant that we are quite a tight mini family there. We do a lot of things together, and it's very nice, and it's a nice all the and also her friends. We call them family friends, and they are super tight from a school that we had in Gothenburg, a family collective that we ran together. Some parents. It doesn't exist anymore, but it meant that the kids were also very tight with each other, and they still are. They cling together as a group, which is super nice. And yeah, that is something to cherish.
Yes,
to have that.
And there we have things more in common as well, because as you know, I have also an adopted child, Maria, not from India, but from Brazil.
Yes.
And we are living now, we are so close together, because she's living here as well, here in Skåne. And it's been like a fantastic period for me, also in a way that sometimes during work times at Ericsson, so I was so busy, and work sometimes came first somehow, or stress, and so which now I'm much more with my mind and doing fun things together, right? And it's really an important part of, if you consider playing the second half, the retirement. For me, it's just the same. So I think one more thing in common, and why I think I wanted to have this conversation with you, because I'm, seeing all these things that we have in common. That's beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, and it also meant that I traveled a lot, and which is difficult if you have a young daughter. So I had backup from friends and family, but it also meant that she could join for quite a number of trips later in when she was older, a little older. She could come along on school holidays and things. So it meant that we she came with me to to China, Korea, Japan. We were in Spain and France and South Africa together. So I paid for her ticket, but I had my ticket paid by the company for work, and
That's fantastic,
yes.
Henning. Fantastic possibility.
So it meant some lonely days in hotel rooms sometimes, but also a lot of fun experience as a young girl. So absolutely.
Tell me this decision then to go on a little bit earlier, just like me. I retired, I was on 2023, so I was 61 years old, right? And if I talk to myself, I don't regret a minute. It was, and it is fantastic period in my life where I'm still learning, doing a lot of new things. How was it the last day, this new moment and where you are today?
I think that I was well prepared to go, and I was also allowed by the company to help with the recruitment of my successor, because I'd been on the account for many years. So it was important both for the customer but also for DHL that. And normally when someone quits, you just leave and then you get a memory stick with the most important stuff or a contract or something. But to be able to spend time with your successor and actually embed him in a way, and then he needed to shape his own career and relationship, of course. But that meant that I told them early that I wanted to retire. And then we spent the time finding the right candidate, and he's still there now, doing the job. And for me, it was important to do that properly, and that's what I also stated to the company. Let's do this for once, a proper succession, not some hasty decision. And they agreed, and it was a good transition. And by the time when I left, it was. It was just easy. I have not regretted that at all. They asked me to stay on as a consultant for a while. So I started my own company then, and I did a bit of consultancy on the side for my old employer in Germany then, which was also a nice slowdown, if you like. It kept me a little bit on my toes, but without any real responsibility, no budget to be fulfilled or things to deliver, really. So that was easy. I still have the company, but I'm not doing anything for them anymore, because it's also relationships, knowledge like that it's really after a while it sort of dissolves itself, and I felt, and I'm sure they felt the same. So I more or less closed that myself, in collaboration with my former boss, and it's fine. So it's amicable. I'm still in touch with him, and I had an Italian boss for many years. We were a group. There were 3 Italians and me. So I'm the only Swede there, and I always loved to hear they chat. We had meetings and they talked in the beautiful Italian language, and I could never understand. So when leaving, I decided to learn some Italian. So I do a bit of Italian every day to pick up. So that's part of the Ancora Imparo, I suppose. I cannot speak it.
So Italian, violin, what more?
No, the saxophone. No,
saxophone.
My daughter plays. Yes. No, I do restore a wooden boat restoration course on Wednesday nights. We're 12, 15 guys in an old shipyard in Gothenburg, restoring a boat from 1895, learning the skill how to put planks on the side and I don't know the English words for all the things we do there, but we're restoring a sailboat from 1895 anyway. It takes a long time, but you're learning the trade, the skills, a lot of interesting, different. Yeah, it's good fun. A friend of mine is also there. So much to learn.
Yes. because this is the other thing. I didn't. I was not worried, but I wonder. I mean, as work takes so much place, but I haven't been as busy as I am today, Henning, with nice stuff. I think and it's good to see that the same works for you. But I don't think I need to start also maybe playing something.
Yeah,
I'm doing
maybe.
some.
Maybe.
I'm doing some French, little French every day. You know.
Hmm. Yeah,
So,
very good. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I do 5 minutes, 10 minutes
yeah.
sometimes. I listen to the radio and things like that. But
Mm.
I think there is a kind of strive for contentment. I would say to be content with what you have.
Mm.
Um, and the reason back to why I left after 40 years, I was still having fun, still doing a lot of things, but how many years do you get? And that's if I look back at my losses then of my sister, my late wife, and my mother early on, and so on, it makes you think that okay, you never know how many years you get. I have friends that passed just after retirement, so that led me to take that decision, and I'm very happy that I did. There are no regrets at all whatsoever. And people ask, a lot of people actually ask, and I'm a little almost worries me. What do you do all day? And my girlfriend asked me, well, how did you have time to work? So it's you fill your days. There's so much to see and experience, and I mean, just go out, look at nature. It's fantastic. You can be in awe of what's around you.
It's
So,
it's it's funny that you bring this up because I don't know how it is with you, but exactly this with time is
mm,
one of the things that I think a lot and try to yeah take advantage. Right? I mean, I don't know, maybe because we are in Sweden where the summer you really need to, you know, take advantage. The first summer here, I remember 1987, Annika, my wife, said it was a very bad summer. It was very cold winter and very bad summer, 1987. So one day it was sunny and she said, Geraldo, we need to go out. We need to go out. I'm very stressed. And well, gosh, I want to sleep a little bit more. Because in Brazil, as it's Rio de Janeiro, it's very warm all around
mm,
the year. And so you don't have this connection that we have in Sweden. Let's say in our age, maybe if we're lucky, we say 30 more summers. So you
mm.
start thinking about time, right? Much more.
Yes.
So tell me, if one perfect day, how do you deal with this, not pressure, but the knowledge that time is so precious today? How is there
Well,
anything particular, any practice?
no, I think the answer to that is that you cannot be stressed about it. You cannot,
Mm.
yeah, in the afternoon it might be raining. So you go out. What I do here is now I'm here all summer basically, and I walk around the island maybe, or there's a little bakery. You can buy a nice breakfast there and take it home, sit in the garden, listen to the birds.
Yes,
It's nothing really, but you need to enjoy that, of course. But
yes,
people wander through life on the constant on the chase for the next achievement, finish something, go to the next place, buy another house.
yes,
It's stress in itself, and that's what I mean with strive for contentment. Be happy with what you have. I'm not striving for. I'm very privileged. I realize that. That's why I also want to give back something to the community. But I'm not striving for a massive big place somewhere else or go somewhere else. I'm content with where I am. This is where I want to be.
yes,
It's and I think that's you start to realize you pinch your arm and realize how lucky you are. Better off than most people in the world. I read somewhere that people who don't sleep in beds and so on. I mean, it's good to. We've had an enormous in our lifetime in the 60s, 70s. It's been very prosperous. People have it
mm,
much better than what it was only not so many years ago. And I just find it important to stay
This is
happy with that.
beautiful. This is beautiful, and it's like I have basically the same question to all guests, I'd say, which is 10 years down the road, if there is a message on the box, what made this summer of 2026 so special? And I think you already gave the answer. It's just being. It's just, enjoying the day.
Yeah.
And there is when we chatting here, there is one of the executive programs that I did myself. There was this guy that was a purpose, how to say, he talked a lot about purpose in life, and he had this beautiful, how to say, small recipe. He said, doing what you love in the place that you love with purpose. If you think, it's exactly, it's very beautiful because you are in the place you love. You go to the local bakery and doing the things you love. I hope you talk a little bit about painting your house now. You just finished. It was difficult to get this time with you, but now we're finally here. And in the place you love, doing the things you love with some kind of purpose, helping the local community, this gives also purpose. And so maybe it's as simple as that.
I think so. It doesn't. You don't have to complicate. And one other thing, I guess over the years I gained a lot of friends around the world, whom I'm still in contact with, but also here in my local community, and people are the most important asset, not only for the company that I worked for, but also for oneself. I don't spend time with people that takes energy. It's sort of the people that are anxious about things that are irrelevant because they're striving for something else. It's up to them to spend their time, but I don't spend time there.
Yes.
It's useless to me. It needs to be. You need to surround yourself, if you can, with nice people that gives you energy. And I find that important, and it's available here. So, yeah.
That conversation with a good friend of mine yesterday, and we're discussing just the importance of love, to love, to enjoy. I mean, I think it's coming back to me now. Still, maybe also another question that I have. And I gave you this Aladdin box when you're here, remember? And
Yeah.
and the metaphor there is that there is life if it's a chocolate box. There are different chocolates and chocolates that you still didn't taste and you're looking forward to it, or things that you don't like so much, or so maybe two questions. One, with such an amazing life and now playing the second half, is anything that you regret, that you could have done differently? And the second question is anything that you're looking for in this chocolate box? This, I mean, you're already doing so many things, so maybe you're content with that, but is there any plans going forward?
I said that you don't have to finish projects. I have some projects that I need to finish to get them out of the way, so to say. And some, if you have too many toys or things, they start to own you instead of you owning them, if you know what I mean. So I might get rid of some things that I own, just to lighten the luggage a bit.
Not the Aston Martin, right?
No, that's staying. That is but the MG might go. It's a beautiful little thing, and it's actually been an investment. I bought it very cheaply, and then I worked on it, and now it's worth more than I gave. So in a way, but that wasn't the purpose. It can never be. You cannot buy these things for an investment. Well, you can if you're very good at it, but that was not my purpose anyway. So no, I think important to stay humble and curious and hope to stay healthy. is a look after. I don't exercise a lot or so, but I try to stay healthy as much as I can, and that's the thing you can hope for, I guess. You never know. And as to the chocolate, I think it's horror to put liquor and spirits into any kind of chocolate. So if you ask me which part I didn't like, the combination of that, I do like
Okay.
My spirits, and whiskey and Fernet Branca is an important thing in my life. No, it's not, but I'm joking. But yeah, no, to stay and give back. A friend of mine also quoted me. I said there's a Chinese proverb that there's something sympathetic over older men who plant trees in which in the shadow they will never sit, because it's just a, and that I think is a good final word, I guess, to that's also giving back to something something greater. The greater good, I suppose, is important.
Yes. Henning, anything that you would like to leave us, or that I didn't ask, or because I think this has been wonderful. I mean, you captured, how to say, what I believe is playing the second half, and I think I understand now why I was so attracted to have this interview with you, because so many things in common. Not so many years, but you are the youngest. This is in common with me. We have also both retired for different reasons, but early, and we enjoy life in this new period. We both spent a long time in a company, in the same company, 26 years, all 40 years, and enjoyed that so much, and look up for the place that we devoted so many years. And we both have a daughter that is adopted, and that we now have this possibility to be so close together. So a lot of things. Anything that you would like? Oh, well, I would like to have had this question, or that I missed.
Not really. I didn't think of it like that. I also, you asked if I had some regrets. I don't. There are things you could have taken better decisions on sometimes, but there's no point in regretting it, really. It doesn't lead to anything. So no, I'm quite. I think there's. I strive for that contentment. I visited a close friend's father's funeral, and she explained that her father, he was a very content man. He was happy with his little whiskey glass and his sandwich there, and reading the paper, and he was smoking. I don't, but he was really a content man, and I saw that. It was beautiful when she said that at his passing. It was a gathering at their place, and that stayed with me. And I think that's a good. You don't have to strive for a lot of other things. You try to be content. It's not always easy, but it's possible.
That's beautiful. When I'm thinking of myself. There was in very early days of Bitcoin, very, very early days.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was in a seminar with two other friends from Ericsson, because I work with trends, and we went to this seminar. And then back, we had taken a beer and said, well, maybe we should put some thousands of crowns in and invest in this new thing. I would be multi-billionaire if I had done that. But I didn't. I don't know why. But this is not regret. It's just, because regret is such a strong word, something that you deeply, this is just, it could have been nice.
Of course. Yeah.
Right. So this was wonderful. I'm thinking, for me, the Ancora Imparo, but also maybe an extra thing that I'm learning with you, to be content and happy with your life, with the here now. And in some ways, you're also helping me. And not that, again, I'm stressed, but I think so much about time. And you are adding a new dimension for me. This is great.
Happy to hear.
Thank you so much. I know that you're going to go sailing, right? Now,
Yeah.
this after.
Well,
Yes.
it might be too windy actually. It's a
Yes.
lot of wind today, so we might postpone it. But yes,
Thank you so much, Henning. This was
my
wonderful.
pleasure. My pleasure.
And,
We'll catch up later.
yes, we catch up later, and we are close to each other. So see you soon.
See you. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.